A new development in the global energy market is putting fresh pressure on Russia, and this time the push is coming directly from Washington. The U.S. Treasury Department has announced that sanctions placed on two of Russia's biggest oil giants, Rosneft and Lukoil, are finally showing visible impact. These sanctions, introduced on October 22nd, are already squeezing Russia's oil revenue, which remains one of the primary sources of funding for the war in Ukraine. According to the Office of Foreign Assets Control, OFAC, the early analysis shows a clear trend. Russia's oil revenues are falling, global prices for several Russian crude grades have dropped sharply, and over the long term, Russia may struggle to maintain its export volumes. OFAC says this is one of the toughest measures taken by the US against Moscow since the invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. It's also the first time President Donald Trump, after taking office again, has imposed direct sanctions on Russia. The US has given international companies until November 21st to completely cut business ties with Rosneft and Lukoil. Firms that fail to comply risk losing access to the US dollar-based financial system, a punishment no major global player wants to face. However, one big question remains. How will Washington enforce these rules when Russia's biggest oil customers have been India and China? Early signs are emerging. According to market data and US analysis, several Russian crude grades have fallen to their lowest prices in years. India and China, nearly a dozen major refiners, have indicated they may stop purchasing Russian oil for December shipments due to US sanctions pressure. On November 12th, Russia's flagship Urals crude fell to $45.35 per barrel, the lowest since March 2023, far below Brent crude, which is still trading around $62 to $64 per barrel. This price drop shows just how severe the financial hit is for Moscow. Reports say Russia is now being forced to offer deep discounts to keep its oil flowing as buyers become increasingly cautious. Washington argues that these sanctions are directly weakening Putin's war machine, and the Treasury says it's prepared to take even tougher measures if necessary to stop the violence in Ukraine. The restrictions also make one thing clear: no global company is allowed to trade with Rosneft or Lukoil anymore. Those who try will face US penalties, potentially losing access to the global banking network. Since oil and gas make up about 40% of Russia's national budget, these sanctions strike at the heart of the Kremlin's financial capacity to sustain the war. There's also a major angle for India. If sanctions on Russian oil companies get even tighter, India, one of the biggest buyers of discounted Russian crude, could find it increasingly difficult to continue purchasing. New Delhi may be forced to look for alternative suppliers, which could raise its import costs. Interestingly, Russian President Vladimir Putin is scheduled to visit India this December, and analysts expect the oil issue to be a major topic in bilateral talks. What do you think about America's latest sanctions and their impact on global oil prices and geopolitics? Share your thoughts in the comments.